Hello, Lund loyalists. John Lund Unleashed YouTubers, those watching on X and Instagram and listening on Apple or Spotify, please make sure you subscribe, like, and turn on your alerts so you never miss a show. And for all things Unleashed, go to johnlundunleashed.com. Live shows, archives, the blog, social media, links, and more. Now likely nursing a hangover, unshaven, unshowered, and a 50-50 chance of his teeth being brushed. Here's Johnny.
100% chance being teeth brushed, 0% chance of shower. Had a great Valentine's Day. Really, the only reason I'm here, I just want to review Valentine's Day. See this very short chalkboard today. It's Saturday. We're going to go into the city. We're going to see what's going on. So I just wanted to say good morning and hello. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time on this Saturday edition of the program. I'm going to move myself over here. Hang on. There we go. That works. There we go. Looks a lot better. Episode 63, VD Review, All-Star Weekend, All-Star Changes. I've given the annual warning, but I'll give it again. I saw the Eagles parade. Is anybody watching SNL 50, the concert last night? That was incredible. I don't have the bunch of the serious clips. Like, it was pretty cool watching Post Malone with the surviving members of Nirvana. That's what they called them, the surviving members. Like Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic on bass and Pat Smear on live guitar, on lead guitar, and all that kind of stuff with Post. And that was pretty cool. And Eddie Vedder did a Tom Petty bit. And it was incredible, the kind of people they had. So we were just back watching the concert late last night. We got home from dinner, and this morning it was really cool. And so I'm looking forward to all that kind of stuff, no matter what you think of SNL at this very moment. So we got a ton of stuff to get to today, and we will discuss. I want to do roll call in just a second, but quickly, like I said, just through the chalkboard. And mainly what I want to just do is say hello and review how your Valentine's Day went, how everything went last night with your Valentine's Day. Mine went incredibly well. Rolex Dad, it is good to see you, my friend. Jazz fan is here. Pine Needle, friendly as catch. Joy is a joy. Mike, Jake, Jesus is here today. Good to see you, Mike. And I guess we got a short list today, but that's okay. It's Saturday edition, and just wanted to say hello. And there's my question to you. Yes. How did everything go last night? Did everything go well? Was everybody cool? Did everybody, it was interesting in our house. Our stepson, he was just playing video games. He didn't care. Stepdaughter went to a big old party with friends. And then my wife and I drove over to Lafayette and had a great time at one of the Lacondas. I don't know if you've been to any of the Lacondas. I know there's one in Pleasanton that we've gone to. The one in Danville we go to all the time. And we hadn't been to the one in Lafayette ever, and it's like this house. It was just so cool, and we had great service and great food. I ended up having like a short rib or something, and now today my diet starts, by the way, because I had short rib over potatoes, which was unbelievable. And I know it was an Italian joint, so I was looking around me, and they make the best pizzas there too, and pasta and all that kind of stuff. They're not paying me to say it. It's just we go there all the time, and the food is fantastic. And so when you go to an Italian place, you want Italian, right? Because you start seeing it and all the red sauce and all that stuff. But I just couldn't get because last time I was there, they did this short rib over like these big fat noodles and all that stuff. And I was hoping they had that as a special, but they didn't. So I'm just like, I'm doing short rib, and did it over potatoes. My wife had this amazing pasta. And then this is always a debate in my house. Like, we used to have this, used to have this party right before 49ers season to kick off the year. And Bob Sargent, who's the director of broadcasting for the 49ers, and we'd have this big Italian feast, and they'd put us in this prosciutto room and in North Beach, and it was unbelievable, and the Italian food and everything that came out. But then when the dessert came out, there was a huge debate, and finally by about the 5th or 6th year of this thing, I got smart, because they used to bring out the Italian desserts. They'd bring out a cannoli and a lemon cake, and they'd bring out a tiramisu and all these different kind of things, and a cheesecake, and we would always fight and battle. And Papa was always a big cannoli guy, and I love a tiramisu. So last night, my wife gets a like a vanilla bean, not an ice cream, whatever you call it, and then they pour espresso over the top of it, so it just melts perfectly, and it's awesome. And then I had a tiramisu, which was incredible, with an espresso martini to end the night, and it was so good. But then at the end of it, I was driving home, and I think we were talking about salary caps or something like that, and how the NFL, it's just like skinny jeans that you can't go over. you have to be in compliance. And whereas the other leagues, NBA hits you the worst, Major League Baseball, it's just stretchy pants, and Major League Baseball, it's not that much. I need stretchy pants last night. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, it was just so, Anyway, that's just the way it went. So had a great time. Hope you had a great time as well. Worked out perfectly great. And I tell you this all the time. All you got to do is you got to stay above, got to stay above water on Valentine's Day. And I think I stayed above water. Nice card, from the heart kind of a thing. We don't exchange gifts or anything on Valentine's Day, but we just do a nice dinner. We hang out and had a good time. And so I hope you guys did too. Hope you had a tremendous, tremendous Valentine's Day. So anyway, you have a birthday coming up, as do I have a birthday coming up, 2457, PJ2457. This was in Lafayette. I don't know where you are. Let me know where you are. I was in Lafayette yesterday, and it was ¡𝐿aconda, one of the ¡𝐿aconda restaurants. If you just look it up, they have one in Pleasanton. They're Italian places, and it's so authentic. You can't even they don't let you. Oh, good call, by the way. Sorry, I'm going ADD all the way. Walnut Creek, Ruth Chris. I got a great Ruth Chris story for you real quick. But great time last night. If you go to ¡𝐿aconda Ravello, which is in Danville, there's another ¡𝐿aconda something or other in Pleasanton. I went to the one in Lafayette last night. It was excellent. Their food is excellent. They're not paying me a dime. Just excellent. Had a great time. The Ruth Chris, by the way, in Walnut Creek. I got a great story for you, Enrique, since you brought it up real quick, and then we'll get to the chalkboard, I promise. So years and years and years ago, I went to Ruth Chris, and I think it was for an anniversary, and I made it I owe them a ton because you ever screw up a reservation before where you go in, and I can't remember if we were there Friday, and that's what it was. I had it made it for a Friday, and it was for an anniversary, and but I had, let's see, I made it for the Saturday, but we were there for the Friday, and the place was packed. It was a Friday night, the Walnut Creek Ruth Chris, and it was for my anniversary. And I was like, oh my God. They're like, yeah, you made the reservation for tomorrow night. We have no tables. And they made this super nice table in the bar area, and they don't normally put like a white tablecloth in. They made it really nice, and they made a white tablecloth, and they put it on there, and they made it really, really nice so that I didn't screw it up, because I did. And they're like, well, we have one table. They had one table in the bar. They go, one table in the bar. That's it. Nothing else. But you know what we'll do? We'll make it like it's in the restaurant, like a fancy thing. And I'm all for bar tables anyway. And they saved my butt. I mean, so I like the people at the Walnut Creek Ruth Chris. Really, really good spot. Anyway, some people are popping in here late. Want to make sure that I say hello to everybody on the 49ers Red Zone is here. Oh, there she is. See, she's here right now, so she's going to be able to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Friendliest catch, it's good to see you. AJ, good to see you. 𝐿GA Sports Channel. Hello, Daniel. It's Johnny. Good to see you. Mike, hello, my friend. Let's see. Switched it up. Oh, okay, there you go. Very, very good. You guys are talking cars already. Good. Keeping the faith. Good morning, Lund and chat. Good morning to everybody. All right, as they come in, I will make sure that we say hello to everybody, but we wanted to start with Valentine's Day VD review, and I think I kept my head above water. I hope you did too. If you do have let me know, PJ2457, where you're located, and if you need a spot or something with the birthday coming up. Pleasanton closer, I'm telling you, it is worth going up there. It is if you're a big fan of Italian food, all they're just great spots. The 𝐿acondas are great spots. There might be more. You know what? Double check it, because maybe you don't have to come all the way up to Pleasanton if you're far from there. But they think they might have them in more places too. They might be down in San Jose. They might be down south. I'm not sure where you are, but they might have them more. But it is certainly worth going up to. All right, VD review over. You can keep them coming as we go, certainly. But let me play something. I want to play something. I don't normally do this, but let me play a video to start the show, because All-Star Weekend is here and everybody's buzzing about All-Star Weekend and everything. And I went on this diatribe. I don't know, and I wouldn't call it a rant because I was under control. I wasn't screaming or yelling about it. It was just, and honestly speaking, I was out last night, and then I'll get back to it tonight, and I'll pop up in here if you don't know what the schedule is for All-Star Saturday night. And plus, you're going to have Draymond Green and Moses Moody in the skills challenge. You're going to have Buddy Hield, but not Steph Curry in the three-point, which I don't understand. It'll be really cool in the three-point if Clay and Steph on opposite teams, but they're just not going to do that. And I don't mean to go on a rant, and I want to make sure that we understand things, that when I say annual warning up there about the All-Star game, for those who don't normally or are just watching for the first time on a Saturday, I like all-star games. I'm maybe the rare media member that doesn't complain. Go, they don't play any defense. It's like, whatever, man. It's one game a year. It's one weekend a year that the fans get. Please give us all of our. Hi, Rich. Good to see you. Hey, your first time in the chat. Very nice. I want to make sure that we acknowledge Rich. Everyone, welcome Rich to the chat. If I can do that. Nope, I did the wrong one. Because it's moving. Thank you, Rich. First time in the chat. Love your stuff. Thank you, Rich. You're welcome to be here anytime. You will find that this is an awesome chat room, and everybody is very, very cool. And as I often say, every time we get together, differing opinions are awesome. I love it. I don't know anything. I don't know everything, and I love to hear different things. So it is awesome to have you, and don't be shy in terms of saying stuff, and you can disagree and all that kind of things. But anyway, let me get back to my annual warning, which I already gave yesterday, and people know what it is, but I like all-star games. I'm the rare media member that doesn't complain about all-star games. I know what they are. I don't mind Harlem Globetrotters. I don't mind alley-oops. I don't mind alley-oops to yourself. I don't mind in baseball games if everybody's not playing intensely. I didn't mind the Pro Bowl. Any of those kind of things. I like it because I have the right mentality for it. I walk in kind of like it's an SNL skit, and I laugh, and I'm not expecting it to be award-winning, Golden Globe winning, Oscar winning performances. I just don't. So I walk into certain movies, which my wife is just all over me about movies right now. But anyway, I digress. I walk into certain movies and I have expectation level. If there's certain actors on them and everybody's told me and it won an Oscar and everything, then my expectation level is heightened. If it's, an Adam Sandler silly movie, like it's going to be Happy Gilmore is going to come out for the like number 2 is going to come out after like 15 years or 20 years, or whatever the heck. I don't have a high expectation level for it. So when I walk into the theater, I'm not going to walk into the theater. It's going to be released directly to your house. But when I turn it on, I'm like, I'm cool, man. Like it's fine. I'm going to stick a pin in this real quick. I'm going to star this because I want to go back to what you're talking about real quick, because you just told me where you live. But anyway, I have an expectation level, and it's not very high for these things. All-Star Saturday Night, I've seen it a million times. I've covered it. I know what it's going to be. The 3-point contest, I know what it's going to be. I think it's a bummer that Steph Curry in his hometown, it's going to be Buddy Hield. Whatever. Buddy Hield's not Steph Curry. Like, I want to see Curry and I want to see Clay, and the NBA's got to make that happen. And so my whole thing is that let the fans have the All-Star weekend. Don't complain who they pick. Don't complain who's this and that. Don't complain who's snubbed. But the flip side of that should be that the players should all play. Like, if you're a great 3-point contestant, we want to see you. Like, that's what you're giving back to the NBA. I'm sorry, you're making all this money and all these things, and it shouldn't be about that. I understand, and everyone wants to rest, but all the best players should be shooting threes that are the best 3-point shooters. And all the guys and this is the way it used to be, and this isn't get off my lawn thing. This is not get off my lawn. This is just, man, if you're one of the better dunkers in the league, you got to dunk. You got to dunk. I don't want to see Max McClung or whatever that dude's name is again, who gets pulled up from the G League every single year, this time of year, to dunk. I don't want to see him. I don't even care if he's the best dunker in the history of dunking. I don't want to see him. I want to go back to the days of Larry Nance and Dr. J and Dominic Wilkins and Spud Webb and Cedric Ceballos and D Brown. And I mean, all that. I want to do that. I want to pump up Reeboks. I want to do all that stuff. I want to jump over people. Vince Carter. How could I ever get Vince Carter? He got his fame in the Bay Area 25 years ago. So that's what I want to see, and it's not too much to ask. We're fans. We finance this thing. And I know that the major corporations and commercials and all the things do, but why would they do that if there was no one watching? The answer is they wouldn't. So all these sponsors that are actually paying the bills, they're paying the bills because we watch. And I'm going to play a clip. I told you this 10 minutes ago. I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to play a clip here in which I know the numbers are down and they're trying something new, and I'm not against something new. A lot of people hate new. I'll give you an example. My dad everybody knows this who's regular to the show, but my dad lived in Idaho for a long time, and he wasn't a potato farmer. He was a food distributor, but his specialty was French fries and like cheese sticks and all these different deep fried type items and everything. And he was a distributor of those kind of things. He had his own company. And so what he would do was he would distribute a lot of these French fries to major markets, New York, Chicago, LA. I'm sure you've eaten his French fries before. He's passed, but when he was in his prime, he was pounding out fries just left and right, left and right, left and right. And when he first opened his shop, had his business going, the print on the box was red. It was called Highland Ventures, was the name of his company. And the print on the box for his French fries were red. One year, I don't know why he did it. I think there was a mistake, and then he just stayed with it. I think they turned it was either blue or green. I think it was green. So they made all of a sudden the print on the box, same thing in the box, but just the print of the same exact French fries, the same labels, same brand, same everything was green instead of red. People lost their freaking mind. They were going to cancel. They were going nuts. They were just, oh my God, the print is green on the box. And they were going to go crazy. And my dad explained to him, and everything turned out fine. But people for about a month, people lost their mind. What is this? Different decaf? What I mean, just like, how I think it's regular is red and decaf is green or whatever the case may be. So anyway, long story short, people hate change, even if it's not, that was perceived change and there wasn't even change. So people hate change. So by and large, what's going to happen this weekend, and I'm going to play a video of it because it's going to make things a lot easier for you to understand, is that they're making a change to this whole thing. It's not going to just be, hey, East versus West, run up and down the court, all that kind of stuff. They're going to take it into 4 teams. So the team that won, and TJD, Trace Action Davis, was on this team, and it was coached by Chris Mullen. Team C from last night's Rising Stars Challenge, they won, so they get into this thing. And then there's 3 other teams, and they're coached by Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. And those 4 teams will play in a tournament on Sunday, up to 40 points. I'm telling you all the things, so I probably don't even need to play the video for you. It's going to be up to 40 points, and then they'll determine who the champion is, and that's how they're going to do it. And because ratings are down. All right, I'll just play this. I just said this, so I don't even know if we need to do this.
It's been almost non-existent. Last year, the NBA All-Star Game hit a nearly 400-point combined score, and the fans and sports journalists have been pretty upset. So this year, the NBA finally made a change. The one long game format no longer exists. Now it's a 4-team, 3-game tournament. So here's how it works. The 24 All-Stars will be split into 3 teams, while the 4th team will be the winner of the Rising Stars Challenge, a rookie tournament that will be played on Friday, February 14th. Another change to the All-Star Game is points. Each game will be played up to 40 points, meaning you can't just run up the score, you've actually got to get stops to win. And to make things even more interesting, there's $1.8 million on the line. The NBA game viewership is down 5% across all platforms. So the NBA is looking for ways to make the game more entertaining, and they're hoping changing up the All-Star Game will do just that. But is it enough to bring back the...
Good question. She said, is it enough? I cut it off, but she said, is it enough to bring back the fans? And that's why I wanted to play it for you, because she asked the question, does that appeal to you? Or would you rather go East-West or world versus U.S.? Or, this is why I give out the annual warning for the NBA All-Star Game, is take it for what it is. I know that you're trying to fix it, and I know it's all about ratings, and I know it's about revenue, and I know it's about complaints from the sponsors who are like, look, we're paying all this money, and it's supposed to be a big part of our package. So here's why it matters. Because if you buy the NBA package, and you throw in all this money, and if you're in sales in any way, shape, or form, you know what you're trying to do. You're trying to add value, constant value. Well, the All-Star Game is this big thing, right? Ooh, All-Star Game, and you also get signage at the All-Star Game, and this many commercials and spots at the All-Star Game, All-Star Game, All-Star Game, All-Star Game, right? Because it's like, God, Indiana on a Tuesday night. Oh my God, how am I going to sell that? But I can sell the All-Star Game. I can sell, you get a chance at the NBA Finals. But then when the numbers come back for the All-Star Game and they suck, as the young lady from The Athletic just said, then the sponsors they complain. Now, these guys are big timers. They're like, it's Budweiser and Coca-Cola and all the major sponsors. And they're going, hey, man, the numbers are down. What are you guys going to do about it? What the hell's going on? This is supposed to be this big marquee event. I don't care about Indiana that Tuesday night. I got to bear through all those kind of things through the 82 games that generally people don't care about, neither do the fans. But, okay, we paid for those things so we could get big value in the All-Star Game, and now the All-Star Game numbers are down. So what are you going to do for me? And so then they come up with this stuff. And so, again, unlike most media members who are wired to be cynical right out of the gate, oh, a change, ha, 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 it's a change, it's terrible, it's stupid. I don't know if it's stupid, and I don't know if it's terrible, because I'm going to have an open mind to it. I don't know if it's going to work. I give them credit for this, trying. I mean, you tried. You're going to try to fix the All-Star Game. I never thought it was broken. I like it because, again, back to the annual warning of, I understand what it is. And you can't make guys be intense, and you can't make them care. And she said at the end, there's 1.8 million. Believe me, you and I would be murdering each other for 1.8 million. It'd be cannibalism on the island. Wilson, what, you're going to give me $1.8 million? Put me on Survivor, but we'll do it for real for 1.8 million. Like the average person, you and I, we'll do it. Like 1.8 million. Put me on the island And we'll get after it for 1.8 million. 1.8 million, these guys are what? Like Steph Curry makes he makes 50 million for 82 games, plus off the court, he probably makes another 20 or 30. So Steph in a year is making 80 to $100 million, maybe more. And he's got tons of money piles of money on that are, all working for him all the time because he's got smart money people. So 1.8 million, it's not per person. I think it's for the whole team. So if you got eight people on each team, right? She said it was 24 into, so you got 8 people that are going to get 1.8 million. What's the math on that? It's decent. I mean, it's what, 250 a piece, 250K a piece, something along those lines is what I'm looking at. All right. 1.8, 1.6 is 200,000. So I don't know, maybe 250 grand. So that's a half for Steph Curry. It's a half of a basketball game, like of a regular season basketball game. That's the first half for him. So again, they're not going to, you can't give them money. Now, the young rising stars players like TJD, $250,000, he's going to play really hard. So maybe they'll win the tournament, right? So the money is not going to be a factor. Hey, you're going to raise a trophy is not going to be a factor. So what they're trying to do is and I'm not being cynical, I'm just being honest. So what they're trying to say is that we're going to give the winning team $1.8 million, which is about $250 a piece. Nice, not, but for them, it's like whatever. For you and I, we'd be clawing each other's eyes out for it. And we're going to go to 40 points, and we're going to have these teams, and everybody's going to care and play defense and all these kind of things. Because one of the key things she said is, well, if it's only going to 40 points, you got to play defense. No, I don't. I still can outscore you. It's first to 40, not first to negative something, not first to 0. Like it's still first to 225. Thanks, Alex. But it's still, it doesn't mean you're going to play defense. It's not going to mean you're going to care, because here's the thing. They go to the All-Star game, and we realize that they're playing a kid's game for a kid's game for a king's ransom. But here's the whole thing is you can't make them care, because Steph Curry's got a million things going on this weekend. And I give these guys a ton of credit. And I already went through this whole rant yesterday about San Francisco, and it's shown itself really well so far. And I'm really encouraged by everything it's doing. Now, look, I've told you this before. I covered the Super Bowl and lived in Detroit when the Super Bowl was in Detroit. And they made this big circus, and they wrapped all these buildings, and they made it look really, really cool. And everyone was excited about the future. And boy, this is going to really revitalize downtown. And then they pulled up the stakes like a circus, went out of town, brought all the people back who were living on the streets, and it was still Detroit. So it's probably going to be that once again. Whatever problems are present are still going to be there, but it's going to make our city, I hope, look better, at least for the weekend, and be a shot in the arm. But we'll see. I think financially it could be, and all those kind of things. But again, I left that to the politics yesterday. I want to just stay with the game itself. Look, I'm optimistic, and I think it's going to be cool, and we're going to watch and all those kind of things. And I think it's cool. And I think that the NBA is trying. And so I won't be cynical. And so that's how it is. But if you didn't know how the thing was going to go, then that's how the thing's going to go. Let me kick into this a little bit. Let me because this is what I love. Sports says U.S. Versus the world might have them care. You're right. Having said that, though, sports fan, and it's a great point by you. When we do international tournaments, everybody else in the world just falls all over themselves for it, and then we just don't. And I realize what Steph did in the Olympics, and we cared there for a minute. Like I've covered the world. I've covered the Ryder Cup before, and I was on hole number 1, and this was when I was in Michigan. Hole number 1 was Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, and we're that media standing right in front of the rope. And luckily, I'm not tall. Now the guy I was working with was like 6'5", and people were yelling at him. But you pay all this money to be right there, and then we slide right under the rope as media and right in front and watch them tee off. And it was one of the coolest things I had ever seen in covering sports. And I would go in there every single day, and we had these partitions, these plastic partitions, because we did our show in the morning. I was doing a morning show then in Detroit. And the amount of energy and fervor and what's the correct word that I'm looking for? They just cared so much more than we did, because we're just messing around and everything. And these are people from, England and Ireland, and they're doing all these different shows. And I would listen to them because, again, these partitions were just plastic, so I could hear them even as I was talking. And they just cared so much about the international tournaments. They just all do in every sport. And we're kind of like, whatever, we'd rather win, a Stanley Cup, or we'd rather win an NBA championship, or we'd rather win a World Series. Like when we see the World Baseball Classic, other teams, other countries, it's everything to them. And for us, it's just like, yeah, it would be cool to win, but we kind of just want to win our championships in our country. That's what means more to us. So look, maybe, and I'm only saying that because I'm looking at it and I'm going, would we care? Would that make our guys care? I think it would from an international standpoint, although an international standpoint, they're not really representing their country, so to speak. They're representing the world versus US. So I don't know. I guess my overall point is I don't think you can make them care because they've always looked at this as kind of a break. And they want to have fun and they want to be the Globetrotters and they want to throw alley-oop passes and they don't want to play defense and they don't want to have intensity. And then so the commissioner every year is trying to come up with something because the sponsors are complaining about the numbers being down. And so they're like, we got to find a way to make it intense. And I just don't know that you can because it's never been intense. Well, not in the last 10 or 15 years. I mean, again, growing up and watching, certain guys who cared. I remember Marc Gasol one time when he made his first All-Star game, and he said this, and you probably know the quote. And I'm not quoting it exactly, but he was playing hard and he was playing defense because that's what Marc Gasol did. That's what got him to the All-Star game. And I can't remember who it was, but they said, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" It's like, "Dude, lighten up, Francis. Like, stop it. Stop playing so hard. Stop playing so intently." Now, when Kobe was playing, there was intensity. When Bird was playing, there was intensity. Even though Magic had a big smile on his face, there was intensity. He wanted to rip your eyes out. Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, guys like that. That's how they played the game. They didn't like each other. But now the way that things are, and I'm not saying it's worse. I'm not being that guy. I'm not saying it's worse. But I always talk about this. Everybody likes each other. Now they want to beat each other. I know Draymond Green is intense and Steph is intense. And a lot of these, they want to beat each other. But after the game, they're hanging out and they have the same agent and they're doing the same commercials and they're marketing the same. And they're all, under the umbrella of Clutch Sports and they're all going to a party together. And they're just not going to be that way. And it's never going to be that way. And you can keep raising the money, but they're making so much that money's not a factor. And pride of something or other is not really a factor. Oh, I'm playing for Charles Barkley's team. And so again, I go back to the annual warning of just enjoy it. We should enjoy it as fans. We should just have fun, all those kind of things, and just take it for what it is. And hopefully the advertisers understand that. Is like, look, this is what it is. And a lot of people are still going to watch. Like, here's the other thing too that kind of laughs. They do these ratings year over year. So last year was this, year before was that, year before was that. A lot of people are still watching sports over anything else. And here's the other thing too that they've got to talk to advertisers about. And I know that they're not going to be real understanding of this, but there's a million different platforms now. Like I'm doing this platform right here. When I used to do it, I did it on the radio for 27 years. And that's all there was, man. 27 years. And it was just radio, TV. Now it's like you're competing with a lot of stuff. Like when we got home from Valentine's Day, a very fine Valentine's Day last night, we went and watched, why my wife will tell me, I'm that freaky show that's on right now. We were just like, it was great. And we didn't even look at regular TV. I forgot that the SNL concerts were on. And then this morning we were watching the SNL concerts going, wow, this is cool. How cool are the SNL concerts? By the way, I have a great SNL concert for you. I'm going to play one of those. YouTube's probably going to get mad at me for doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Jared Stidham is a backup for Brock. I don't mind that. Oh yeah, I know Ben Affleck's Devil Chin. I've seen that pumpkin once. I've seen it everywhere. I don't mind Jared Stidham. What was he in Denver? Right, he went from the Raiders, which by the way, he started a game on New Year's Day against the 49ers, in which I went down to that game and covered that game. Jared Stidham, and he actually played well against the 49ers. I wouldn't mind him. Here's my thought. It's fine. You can send me on a tangent. We'll go back to the All-Star game in just a second. What I'd like to see the 49ers do behind Brock, first of all, if Brock's hurt for any extended period of time, they're screwed. But what I'd like him to do is, I think Daniel Jones, for some weird reason, is going to be the next Sam Darnold. I think he's going to get out of New York. I think he's got the skills. I think he's athletic. I think he can play. And I'm not going to say he's going to start this year or anything else for anybody, but I'd like to see him in Kyle Shanahan's system as a backup. And then I'd like to see them draft, I don't know, Riley Leonard or Will Howard or something like that. There's a lot of good young quarterbacks coming out that I think are mid-rounders that need a couple of years. And I'm not saying they could turn into Brock, but I do think that they could turn into something. So, but that's not a bad thought. I saved this just because, okay, so PJ2457 I was saying Laconda Ravello, which is in Danville. And then they got a couple of other Lacondas because we went to the one in Lafayette last night. And I know there's one in Pleasanton. You say you're in Hayward. Yeah, you don't want Olive Garden. I absolutely would tell you that Pleasanton, which is not far at all. What's Pleasanton from Hayward? 20 minutes, right? Well, traffic. It's just a matter of miles. What is that? 8-10 miles, maybe even less. it's well worth it. And plus, Pleasanton's got a killer downtown, a really cool downtown. Like today, is it sunny out today? It was when I walked in here. Great breakfast spots, cool little shops. It's a good spot. Yeah, if you got a birthday coming up, that's a good spot. Or Bocce is a great Italian spot in Pleasanton. So just saying, if you're going to just zip up there, I don't think that's that bad of a drive. It's not bad at all, as a matter of fact. Yeah, by the way, somebody just hit up Chappelle. Did anybody see Chappelle was in town last night, right? Did anybody see that show? How was it? I would have loved to have gone to see that show, but I didn't. All right, before I play the SNL 50 stuff, which was phenomenal, and I'm sure you probably have it on your somewhere, but it is great to see everybody. And there's a lot of new people in the room that I haven't said hello to. 𝐾𝐨𝐴03, it is great to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Daniel, good to see you. What else do we have? Back in the day. Yeah, believe me, I covered some of those teams, not craps. Come on, man, Lund, get it together. They should. Where's the other one? God dang it! What is wrong with me? Oh, there it is. Back in the day, the Detroit Pistons wouldn't shake hands with the Bulls. Yeah, I mean, not only would they not shake hands, Isaiah Thomas would just walk off the court and go the other way. I mean, he wouldn't even look at him. So yeah, things have changed. And I'm not against change. Like I said, my dad changed colors on a box accidentally, and people lost their freaking mind. They wouldn't even in New York. They had a company in New York that was my dad's number one client. And when the boxes came that had green print instead of red print, they rejected them. There was 48,000, which is what a truckload of fries is, 48,000 cases of fries. And they called my dad and they said, we're not taking these. And my dad's like, what are you talking about? That's how we found out. And he goes, there's green print on here. He's like, what do you mean there's green print? And he goes, yeah, green print. We're not taking green print fries. They're red print. And I'm like, my dad's like, it's the same fry. He's like, why is it green? Why is it green? We're not taking them. Why is it green? It's like, just take them out of the box, fry them up. They're the same exact fries. Just check them out. And I go, okay, well, hang on. And they're like, okay, they're the same. But the guy with the truck is sitting there and you got a sign for the stuff and he opens it up. There's 48,000. They're like, wait a minute. These have green print. He's like, they're the same. Sorry. Don't like change. Not going to do it. If you just joined in, you're like, what are you talking about? Green print. I'm telling you right now. Just it's the way it is. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. Good morning on a Saturday. I hope everybody is great. Hello, Kyle. Hey, all. Good to see you. I did see Skills, man. I saw Skills here a little bit earlier, too. It is tremendous to see you here today. What else are everybody talking about today? What else is everybody talking about today? By the way, I said this before, but if you're new, welcome Rich to the program. Rich is new in here, and he understands what the hell is going on here. And so it's very cool to have new people in the room. So make sure you say hello. Hello, David. I did not see you this morning. Good to see you, my friend. Tony is here today. Alex, if I didn't say hi to you. All right. So let me go to, because let me show the Eagles parade before I get into this. I know that the Warriors parade looked like this. If the Niners won it, where would it be if the Niners won it? Would it be in Santa Clara? It would be in San Francisco, right? I mean, they're the San Francisco 49ers. But I mean, I'm always amazed at this because remember, it's in the middle of the week. Kids are pulling them out of school. I was at a couple of the Giants parades. They were wafting. Those were cool. I've been at a couple of the Warriors parades. I mean, they are fun, man. It is fun. And then the next day, and it's already up on ESPN. Can they do it again? Can they do it again? Can they do it again? But this is what it looked like in Philly. I don't even know where this is in Philly, but I mean, are you kidding? Look at that. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy right there. And that goes back and farther. I mean, there's, I don't have a wide lens shot on that. I just saw this on social media today. I mean, how many people is that? 1 million? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm 100% wrong. Maybe that's 500,000. I have no concept of how many people that is. But it just gives you the sense, and we can hate Philly all we want. And I'm not an Eagles guy. That's not why I'm bringing it up there. It's just what it does is when I first saw that, the first thing was, first of all, I got chills because I just think it is so cool, not Philly, just sports fans, that they have such a passion for their team. And remember, they won the Super Bowl like not too long ago, Nick Foles and the Philly special against New England. So it's not like it was 100 years like the Cubs or the Red Sox or some of these teams that didn't win for a long time. I mean, Philly's just as passionate sports town. So you can hate Philly and you can hate it as a sports town. You can hate the Eagles. You can hate the Sixers, the Flyers, the Phillies, whatever. You can hate them all. That's not my point. My point is I love to see passionate sports fans. And it's just so cool that when people say, sports don't matter all that much, sports don't matter. And those people that are in that thing right there, it almost looks like a painting, but the diversity, and I don't want to get too deep here, but the diversity in that, black, white, gay, straight, man, woman, what gender, nothing matters. They're Eagles fans, and they're sitting in that group and they're just having a ball and drinking and partying and having a great time. And they are standing next to somebody who they would never meet in a million years in their lifetimes. But it's just, that's what they have in common. They love the Eagles. And I just think that's the coolest thing for a community. And I hope it comes back here sometime, because like I said, I was right in the midst of parades for the Giants and the Warriors. And it's just so cool to pull everybody together that they have one thing in common. And for 1 minute in our country, which is so divided, and I'm not getting political, that is so divided over so many different issues, that it doesn't matter on a day like that, right? That they can just go into this thing and it doesn't matter, and go Birds, and they got something green on, and they have that one thing in common, and millions of people can get together in one place and go, whatever, man, we're common in this thread. And so when people say that sports doesn't matter and sports isn't that big of a deal, now a lot of this is because I've made my living in sports for over 30 years. My son is going down the same path and probably going to make his career in sports. So everything that I have in my life is based on sports. So I've got a little bit of a warped sense of importance for sports. But having said that, I also know where sports is in the pecking order. It's not family, it's not life and death, it's not, we've all had things affect us. And again, not to get too deep, but I just think that was such, I don't know, that just sends goosebumps up and down my spine when I see stuff like that, where I just go, those people, a lot of them have things in common, but a lot of them don't. And they come from different places, and they come from different areas, and they could come from different states and all these things, because they're like, well, I'm not missing the parade. And they just won one a few years ago, but they all get together and they have a big party, and it's a good time. And the GM gets hit in the head with a beer can. Did you see that? Howie Roseman gets popped in the head with a beer can. It's got like this gash on his head at the podium. I'm just like, my God, man. But anyway, I get it. You don't like the Eagles. I understand. That's not the point. It's just cool when a championship brings people together. So I just wanted to show that, because I was like, my God, that is ridiculous. So I'm kind of on a random rant of the thing. And let me just show you one more. This is baseball related, because I'm jumping all over the place on a Saturday, because Saturdays tend to be like this. If you're just new on a Saturdays, I'm just kind of jumping around, and there's a lot of different things that I'm seeing on a weekend. So I just kind of jump around. But I popped that up there for one reason. That's Suzuki on the left, Yamamoto in the middle, and Ohtani on the right. And I know, again, I'm going from Philly, who you hate, to the Dodgers. So it's probably dwindling in here to absolutely nothing. But remember when Suzuki said it wasn't a big deal that he had Japanese players to play with? It is a big deal, because they're in that portion of the locker room, of the clubhouse, I should say. It's a clubhouse in baseball. And he's already got a comfort level. And so when I'm thinking about the Giants, and I went onto this thing the other day when I wrote the piece, and you should still check it out, so we don't need to stare at the Dodgers anymore. So I wrote a piece the other day, and I'll just promote it really quickly as I present to you, with you, which is always something that I get nervous about, because I don't know what is up on my screen at any given time. I'm editing these things, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't want that. Oh yeah, that's fine. That'll work. All right. So there's the latest YouTube show. There's my website, 𝐿undunleashed.com. Actually, I'm actually editing it right now, but you can generally get the idea. So Meet Your Host, latest YouTube show. That's the one we're doing right now. Blog post. So it says Giants, if they want to win, they won't do this, or they have to do this. Let me see if it'll even click through when I'm editing. I don't think it will. But within that, what I said was, I was going to show the piece, but I'm too stupid. But what I was saying within that piece that you should read on the website at your earliest convenience is, I talk about the way that the Giants pipeline is working right now, and how they're not utilizing everything to make a good team. A lot of it has to do with the Dodgers and these deferral of money, which the Giants should be doing and every team should be doing. And I explain that in depth. So rather than explain it again here, I would hope that you would go to 𝐿undunleashed.com and check it out. It's a nice piece. I do this as story of the day. I put a piece up there, a video piece, and then I write below that. And I kind of got extensive and down a rabbit hole as far as that goes. But my point in it was that in the ways that you can build a team. So there's free agency, there's trades, there's draft, right? There's international pool. So you can get guys from the international way, and they just got the second best prospect, did the Giants, after Suzuki, a 17-year-old kid that was playing on dirt fields with trailers all around, and 5 guys playing on a 9-man field. There was like a first baseman, but had to run to play shortstop, all this kind of stuff. And that's what they're basing on this 17-year-old. And you're like, how's that so hard? Well, he's 17. Good luck projecting him to Major League Baseball. in 8 years. But anyway, I digress. One of the things I said was they won't defer money, which the Dodgers are doing. And I explain in depth why that is such a great idea. And I'm not being sarcastic. It is the way it should be done. And then the Red Sox just did it with Bregman. And so they don't defer any money and they have no Japanese players, even though the Giants had the first Japanese player in Major League Baseball in 1964. They don't currently have any, and they haven't had one since 𝐬𝐽𝐽𝐽 in 2015. And so the reason I popped that up there is to further illustrate that, look, you got to have one. If you're going to go down that road, Roki Sasaki wasn't going to come here and not have Japanese players because he's kind of shy. And you can, Yamamoto is going to take some of the pressure off because there's a ton of Japanese media. And obviously, Ohtani's going to take that off. He wasn't going to go to a team that didn't have some sort of a Japanese presence. Darvish, all that kind of stuff. The Cubs have 2 Japanese players. There's 14 Japanese players in baseball. And for the Giants, given the diversity of our city, to not have a Japanese player since 2015, so we're coming up on 10 years, is ridiculous. And it used to be when they first got here, it was like, I don't know if they're going to make it. And then all of a sudden, man, boom, 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 boom. And it's not even really a huge risk like it used to be years and years and years ago when they first started coming over, where you'd go, are they going to be any good? Hideki Arabu and guys like that. You're like, are they going to be any good? And then all of a sudden, man, it was just one after the other after the other. And I think it was Hideo Nomo that was one of the first as well that really struck through with the Dodgers. So anyway, it's a way to build a team, and they're not taking advantage of it. And I was saying the whole time that I don't know that the Giants are going to have a shot because a guy that kind of has that personality, that is kind of shy with the media, really doesn't want to talk to the media. I mean, just look at that picture right there. He's like, I don't have to deal with it, man. Those 2 guys right there are going to take most of the spotlight away from me, and I can just play ball and kind of be in the background, even though there's 100 Japanese reporters here. So anyway, just a thought. I could be 100% wrong, just a thought, but I think that that's probably part of this whole conversation. All right, let me get back to the comments before I play some stuff from Saturday Night Live. Actually, the funniest part of the concert, and then I'm going to explain some of it. I would say just based on the few songs that I've seen, but I did see a bunch of the names of the stars. This is cool. And people maybe you don't realize it, but I mean, a lot of bands, rappers, musicians in general, got their big break on Saturday Night Live, and it's been going on since the 70s. And you can talk about, the sketches and what's funny and what's not, and if you like it anymore or you don't. But music has always been a cool staple of Saturday Night Live, and the amount of talent that played in this concert, I was just like, what? It's unbelievable. But I just have one funny piece for you that I'm going to show you. But anyway, all right. Let me see what else do we got going on here. Pine. I love it when you guys get into the conversations and then I just jump in here and I'm trying to figure this out. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm like, I don't even know, but it's good. I like it. All right. Everybody's having all sorts of conversations today. I like it. All right, let me do this just because I told you. Yeah. I mean, the 2010 parade, 12, I remember just being like, you walked out there in 12 and it was like, you need a gas mask. Like you're looking at your kid going, your kid is going to be so high. I remember going, I don't remember if it was 12 or 14, and I was taking Bart in that day because we were going live from Market Street, and so we had to go down early, and Pop and I were doing the show together, and I don't remember if we were there we had to be going 10 at that point because we did 10 to 2 later on. We did 12 to 3 when we first started out. I think it was it was 2012. So we were going 12 to 3, and I was on Bart, and it was about 7:00 in the morning, and this is before pandemic clearly. And they had one of those giant, not just, okay, you got a fifth of Jack Daniels and you got a half gallon of Jack Daniels. And then you got one of those almost like clown bottles. I mean, it's this giant bottle of Jack Daniels that you needed 2 hands to carry. And they're literally, they're just passing it down the line. It didn't even matter who it was. It was just like, everybody's taking a plug and everybody's got their Giants hat and their Giants gear. And everybody is in the bag. And it's 7:00 in the morning. I mean, everybody's got, and then Bart, it's like, can't drink on Bart. And so, people are sucking down beers, but I just remember this gigantic bottle, like cartoon bottle of Jack Daniels that they had, like a promotional bottle that somebody had brought on board, and people were just plugging off of it. And you literally, like, if you weren't that big, you needed someone to like grab the back of it. I mean, it was a giant, I was like this, it was like a giant bottle. And I'm like, I might as well. And I was going into work. I was like, I got a show today, but somebody just passed me this clown bottle of Jack Daniels, and there's no way I'm not drinking it. And so they just passed. I mean, you're sitting on the bar. It was just crazy. But that's what I'm talking about. Like normally Bart does this thing where I haven't ridden it for a while, but normally Bart does this thing where it's like headphones on, keep your head down, don't want to talk to anybody, trying to get work done or, whatever, something's going to happen or somebody's, all this weirdness is going on and you just want to look down at what you're doing. Guys smoking crack next to you, guys doing this, guys doing that, person's doing this, person's doing that. You just want to look down. And that's what I was just talking about Philadelphia is it's just, are you going to take a plug off a bottle of Jack on Bart from some complete stranger? Normally you're like, dude, at 7:00 in the morning on a Wednesday? Hell no. But it just brings you together. Like that's the thing to do. Everyone's sucking down booze. Let's all get together. The next day, back to just, staring at my thing and hoping, my backpack doesn't get stolen or somebody doesn't, some whack doesn't do something or something crazy doesn't happen. But man, for that day, you're going into the parade. It's like we're all one. It's cool. All right, let me play this. It's got on that tangent about going to a parade. This is pretty cool. So I think everybody's aware. Everybody knows Dick in a Box, right? So last night, let me explain that. Well, I just threw that out there in the middle, and let me rewind to the start. So Saturday Night Live's got the 50th anniversary going on, and they got the show tonight and everything. It's going to be really, really cool. And but last night they did the concert, and I'm talking about like Post Malone is doing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" with the rest of the guys from Nirvana. Eddie Vedder's doing a Tom Petty. Who else? I mean, it was just the who's who of anybody, right? I mean, just tons and tons of just amazing, amazing talent. And then they would stick in some comedy in the middle of it. So Will Ferrell did a bit and all this kind of stuff. But the funniest thing I saw was Andy Samberg goes up there. If you didn't see this, Andy Samberg goes up there with Lady Gaga and does Dick in a Box. And so they're just talking and talking and talking. And she's like, well, we need to find something because she's singing away. And she goes, well, look, our voices clearly don't match. And we've got to find something in which our vocal range can match. And Andy Samberg goes, oh, I got something. And then so this is unbelievable. So obviously it's normally with Justin Timberlake, which he couldn't be there apparently. But Lady Gaga and Andy Samberg with that's just my warped mind, but that is not indicative of what the show was like. So if you go and you watch and you got some time today, like I said, Eddie Vedder was really good. Nirvana with Post Malone was very good. There was a ton of stuff. And it's just, you forget that so many people got their start, so many bands, so many musicians, so many rappers, so many, and they didn't nail it every single time, but the people that they got to go, the talent that they got to go for that concert is out of this freaking world. Miley Cyrus did a couple of things, and you may not like her, whatever. She got a hell of a voice, but it was great. It's a really good concert, and you don't have to go to it. I thought that was hilarious, and because I mean, Lady Gaga is incredibly talented. She might be, she's one of the best singers in the world, one of the best artists in the world, whether you like her stuff or not. I mean, I don't listen to her stuff all the time, but I have a hell of a lot of respect for how talented she is, and for her to just be like, okay, I'll mess with this. Man, it's been the greatness of Saturday Night Live when they were either great, really bad, or just mediocre for the years. They would make regular people do crazy stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, like, Michael Jordan doing the whole bit, I'm good enough, the reaffirmations or whatever those were. Anyway, that was last night. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lives in the Bay Area, but super talented, and it was just awesome. Yeah, she, like I said, whatever people think of Miley Cyrus, she did a bit with Metallica. Did she do Enter Sandman with Metallica? Something like that. And it was incredible. You're just like, and the dudes from Metallica are probably like, we're playing with Miley Cyrus? Oh, man, are you kidding me? And then all of a sudden she was like, boom. And you're like, oh, my God. Wow. So anyway, oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They've got to do something. I don't know what I mean, that's seasonal, so I don't know if they'll do it, but absolutely. But anyway, great concert. You should check it out. Let's see, I did not see any Jimmy Fallon. I can't say that I'm the biggest fan of Jimmy Fallon, but I did not see any Jimmy Fallon last night. I did see, like I said, I saw Eddie Vedder do, what Tom Petty song did he do? I can't remember off the top of my head, but like I said, Post Malone with Nirvana was really good. Dave Grohl was drumming, and then Chris Novoselic up there. And by the way, he has the horseshoe going on. Like, Chris Novoselic, the old bassist of Nirvana, had the long hair and everything. Dude, once it's to that point, don't you have to shave it? I mean, don't you have to shave it? Like, it's like, it's horseshoe. Like Granville Waiters, I think, was the last guy in the NBA, was a center out of Ohio State and played for the Pacers. You can look it up. Granville Waiters was the last guy in the history of the NBA to do the horseshoe. And now it's like you start losing it, man. You can just look like Jordan. Just shave it. Like you're good, man. Honestly, you're fine. You don't need to, I don't know what that does. Maybe some people are just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But it's like, I get to the point where I got the horseshoe going on. I got to shave it. I mean, I remember talking to Tolbert about it. Tolbert had great hair for a long time and kind of wild hair for a long time. And then it started going and he just went, By the way, did you see the Tolbert promo were you here yesterday? Most of you were here yesterday and saw the Tolbert promo. If you want me to play it again, I will. But he's getting close. And there's actually, I think they're 10 days out. I think Tolbert's show is 10 days out. And he does have, by the way, a YouTube page already up. I think he has like 600-800 followers. So make sure that you hit up on Tommy. And he's coming very, very soon. Oh, yeah. You're right. I said sweaty and it's Shweddy. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I don't know about that one. A long time ago, where's your, I popped it up and then I lost it. A long time ago, I got in trouble. And I wish I had this because it was, I played this, I had this up during Super Bowl week where all the different guys that we had when we were on Radio Row. And one of them was because it was at Moscone Center in Super Bowl 50. And Eddie D got put into the Hall of Fame and Jed York was sitting with us. And then somebody took the picture. It was me and Greg on one side and Jed and Eddie D on the other. I don't think I have it. I think I might have taken all that stuff off my board. Let me just double check that I don't have it. Yeah, I don't have it. But and it was the from behind view of Jed. And I think it was actually after this, Tom and I were talking about it on one time. And of course, we're the flagship of the 49ers. And I try very hard to not make personal appearances show fodder because look at me, right? Like, why would I do that? And I'm just throwing rocks into glass houses. And so I look and Tom and I started talking about the bald spot on the back of his head. And the Niners sent me a text and he said, hey, man, it's cool. Like, you guys can talk about a lot of stuff, but the owner's hair, could you not do that? And I was like, yeah, all right. So we stopped doing that. They didn't like it. So I was like, you're right. And I do have a philosophy on the show that personal appearances are not show fodder. But then again, I did that whole thing on Bill Belichick last week or the week before. But that was only because his girlfriend was wearing next to nothing, like these diamond sequins and everything like that. And then Bill had like a Target jacket manager on and he was tubby looking and his hair is going all over the place because and I'm just like, you got to try to step it up. Like, I know you're 73 and she's 24, which is creepy enough as it is. But it's like, if you're going to be with a 24-year-old, you got to make a commitment that you're going to get in the best possible shape. You're going to get, custom made suits. I mean, God knows he has enough money for it. Like, you're going to step up your game. But I think that he's just like, look, I got all the money. I don't really have to do anything. I think that's probably his viewpoint is like, look, I got a lot of money here. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And so people, if they have an issue with it, I got a lot of money. Although, you know what I'm starting to see with her, not to go off on a tangent on her, I can't remember her name, Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, but what she was in, did you see the Dunkin' Donuts commercial at the Super Bowl where it was Ben Affleck, but then there was a Belichick and she was standing right next to him? I swear she's almost like, the people that get on reality TV and they don't really care, like whether it be The Bachelorette or any of these other shows, whatever the shows are that are on. And they're just there to try to get famous. Like, they're like, I got nothing going on in my life. I got to do something. I got to get famous. I'm going to be famous for being famous is basically what it is on a lot of these reality shows. And I really think the more I watch her, because she's everywhere he is, she's on commercials now. It's like, can't Belichick go on his old commercial? No. I have to walk Bill onto the stage. He's getting older now. One of those kind of people that's like hanging on. And so I think she's trying to be famous for famous. And I know there's a difference between somebody who's like, well, he's got money, I'm going to be with him, which is a weird concept that I don't understand. But because at some point you got to pay the credit card bill. It's nighttime. Bill's had a couple of drinks. It's like, oh no, Bill, please turn off the lights. But like I said, show fodder, personal looks, that can't be, because then it'll come back to me. And it's like, I don't want it to be on me. So anyway, long story short is I'm convinced now that she's trying to be famous to be famous. I think that's what she's doing, because it was like, why is Belichick's girlfriend on the Dunkin' commercial? Like, he's Bill Belichick. He doesn't need like a sidekick, but she's now everywhere. And then she wore that, that whole thing next to him. And she probably told him like, yeah, wear that really dumpy looking thing so that that it's about me, that I pop even more. And I played it a lot last week or during the Super Bowl. So you know what I'm talking about. She was wearing like this really, it was tiny. And then he's in like this red jacket, gray wrinkly pants, like bad tie. And she probably told him, like, that's what I want you to dress like. I want you to dress like, so that everything just pops to me, that there is no like, oh, there's Belichick. No. There's his girlfriend who's trying to be famous for being famous. So look, maybe it's just true love and I'm being stupid, but come on. It looks suspect at best, does it not? I mean, I don't know. And what would it be like too? I've asked this question, but like, if that's your daughter, in one sense, if you're the dad, you're like, Bill Belichick, respect. But on the other sense, you're like, God, that is really creepy. Like, there's a 73-year-old man dating my 24-year-old daughter. Like, that's granddaughter stuff. Like, that's weird to me. And I understand she's above 18. She can do whatever she wants, but that's still creepy. It's still really creepy to me. I think it's weird. So anyway, yeah, right. Her ex, and she was really pretty. His ex-girlfriend, 64. She was very, very pretty. And yeah, I get that old soul thing. I don't know. Old soul, she's 24. I mean, how old of a soul can she be? Right? I mean, I don't know. See, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, Tommy. 47 won't go younger than 30. I don't know. Even if she's an old soul, I don't mean to go on this tangent, but we started. I don't know what you could possibly talk about, because a lot of times, I don't know how young you've dated before. I'm trying to think. Because I got divorced the first. I never dated anybody, even when I got divorced the first time in 2014. So that was like 10 years ago. There was no way I dated any women younger than, say, 35. Good point. Solid point. There you go. Maybe, look, maybe they do get along. I would love to be on a fly on the wall, wouldn't you, for just a minute, and just to hear their conversations. Because again, she's 24. So you think about the kind of music she's probably into and the movies she's seen and all that kind of stuff. And then he's bringing up like, old John Wayne movies or something, or like Frank Sinatra. And she's like, Frank the what? Huh? Like, she doesn't even remember Joe Piscopo playing Frank Sinatra on Saturday Night Live. I got chunks of guys like you in my stool. No, that was Phil Hartman. Like, she doesn't remember Phil Hartman playing Frank Sinatra. I mean, my love of God, man. What's their reference point in their discussions? It's got to be very difficult. I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. But maybe they do love each other, and I shouldn't be such a pessimist. Or not a pessimist, I'm picking at what they're doing. So maybe. If he can't beat my daughter in a foot race, he's too old for. You know what? That's skills. That is a great reference point. Like, so in other words, look, he comes over. You're one of those dads that has maybe the shotgun or something, and he comes walking in the house, and like, what's your intentions with my daughter? And you look at him and you're like, how old are you anyway? And let's say your daughter is 24, and you hear the guy's like, even if he said 44, I mean, Belichick's 73. Even if the guy walked in and he looked like he was 40 plus, I'd be like, ugh, really? Like, dude, you were 16 when my daughter was born. You know that, right? Like, you were 24. She was like 8. Like, really? Okay. All right. But the foot race thing is a great idea. Like, okay. She beats you in a foot race. You can't be with her. Because she can be. She's 24. She's in amazing shape. I mean, she's beating Belichick in a foot race for sure. For sure, she's beating him in a foot race. All right, that's a great one, man. If you can't beat him in a foot race. Oh, that is great, man. All right. I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to be here for a short time, not a long time, for a good time, not a long time today, because I wanted to make sure we said hello on this Saturday morning. But episode 63, it's John Lund Unleashed. Make sure that you're following us on YouTube. We are also live right now on X and Instagram at John Lund Radio. If you put everything together, it's really, really simple. I'm going to be writing later today and putting up a story of the day as well as a bunch of shorts. So make sure that you have your alerts on, and you'll get all those things. But I'll be at johnlundunleashed.com writing a new piece today and putting a video along with that. All-Star Weekend, we're going to go down there and check everything out. So I'll give you a full report on Monday from that. Hope your Valentine's Day was great. I shouldn't skip over that. We had a great Italian joint. Any of the Lacondas, like I said, in Danville, we were in Lafayette, or the one in Pleasanton. Really, if you're looking for Italian food, they're not paying me a dime. I'm just saying I want you to have a great dinner, and it was phenomenal. Hope yours was great. All-Star Weekend, as you said, there's changes in the All-Star Weekend. So TJD and Mully's team, they won last night. So they're going to play as the Rising Stars versus the 3 guys from TNT. So Chuck's got a team. Kenny's got a team. Shaq's got a team. And then the fourth team is from last night. They're going to play. Wonder what you think of that. You know what? I wanted to show you one more thing. As I often want to do, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm leaving. And then I'm not leaving. Hold on one sec. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to share my screen with you. Don't want to show you that. Can't show you that. Let me see here. What was I getting? Where is it? I'm looking for the schedule. There we go. Schedule of events from this weekend. So as you can see there, that is today. So these are Eastern times, of course, because we don't mean anything. So don't care about media day. 2:00 is that is really cool. Oakland Arena Morehouse versus Tuskegee University. That is very cool. Historically black colleges and universities. 4:00 Adam Silver. And then the fun starts. 5:00 at Chase. You got the Kia Skills Challenge, and Draymond's going to be that, and Moses Moody is going to be in that. Then the Starry 3-point contest. And yeah, people are saying Buddy Hield is going to be that. I don't think Steph is in that from what I read. But it's going to be Buddy Hield. Third event, slam dunk. They should actually flip those things. I'm not going to complain about the slam dunk. All I'm asking, without being preachy or anything like that, all I'm simply saying is it'd be really cool if everybody was in the 3-point. There was a good 3-point shooter that we wanted to see, the stars and the dunk, which has been a long time. And they wonder how they're going to fix things. Put all the great dunkers in the dunk contest. And I know they don't want to embarrass themselves or anything like that. But back in the day when it was Dr. J and Larry Nance and Dominique Wilkins and Spud Webb and Michael Jordan, they wanted to compete. I don't know what happened to that. You know, I want to show you I'm the best. Why is it that in our generation, like nobody, I don't want to be at the combine. I don't want to throw at the combine. Well, you're supposed to be the best. I don't want to run at the combine. Wait a minute. I thought you ran a 4.3. Like, doesn't anybody want to compete against each other? That's the one thing I will say. And, they don't want to play defense. They don't want to play hard, but automatically back in the day, guys wanted to compete and they're like, I want to show you. So the best aren't shooting the 3 anymore. The best aren't dunking anymore. It is what it is. And then Sunday, starting at, the G League up next, and that's Pat Spencer, I believe, is going to be in that game. Then the All-Star game is at 5. So 5:00 tomorrow night, and it's Kenny's Young Stars versus Chuck's Global Stars. Shaq's OGs versus Candace's Rising Stars, which is the team coached by Mully that won the tournament. And it's 1 versus 2 to win the championship. So I don't know if you think that's cool. If you think it's not, we shall see. They played a 40 in those games, not for a 40, up to 40 is what that is. So that's what the new thing is. And it starts at 5:00 tomorrow. And today, like I said, there's Saturday. The events start today at 5. So look, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm going to look forward to seeing it. I have a very positive attitude. I know exactly what it's all about. So I'm not going to walk in there and expect to see, an award-winning performance, but I think it's going to be cool. So that's kind of what it is. Mully has the coaching experience. That's true. St. John's. I love Mully. I love Mully. Maybe we'll go up to the gym today and see if Mully's working out today. I never say anything to him. And we give each other like the nod, like, hey, what's up, dude? What's up, dude? He's like, do not approach me. Do not approach me at all. All right. What else? What else is going on in anybody's life? Everybody good? I think we are caught up on everything. I gave you the Saturday Night Live. I'd expect you to watch it. Do you want me to play the Tom thing? Did enough people not see that? The Tolbert? Do you want to see that again or no? I will play it if you want me to. For the new people who are in the room today, we usually go about 3 hours during the week, and I have a much bigger chalkboard off to the right. I only had a few things today because it was Saturday and we have some things to do today, but I wanted to give you at least an hour of my time to say hello. And we do this. And like I said, we're more organized on a Saturday normally, but love to see you in here today in the normals. But we got a bunch of new people in here today, so I really appreciate new people coming in here. Very, very cool. Yeah, I know. Walter's right. And Walter, by the way, Walter's mad at me because the other day I said he drinks too much. And the story is, and I will give him this one, this was game, what was it, Walter? Game 1 in the 21 season after. So it was game 1, and Buster hits the home run over the water cannons off of Walker Buehler. Buehler. Hits it off Buehler. And he had been texting me and stuff and going, hey, man, what's going on? Where you at? And kind of was like, yeah, whatever. And I was in the media area because I didn't have a seat. And so I was sitting behind home plate, which is a great place. And then I started walking around. And I found out that those guys were a bunch of the guys from KNBR were hanging out by the water cannons in right field. So literally, I turned the corner to go out to right field in the water cannons. Maybe not literally. It might have been 2 minutes. But I was standing out there a little bit, and we're all standing around out there, and all of a sudden, poof, not Walter, Buster hits the home run over the water cannons, and everybody is going bananas. And so the other night on his show on YouTube, give it a plug, Walter, give it a plug. On his show, Passion for the Pastime, right? Passion for the Pastime, which you should absolutely be joining Walter, my former producer. And let me pop this back up here because he's giving me grief. Hold on, no, that's the wrong one. There it is. So then he says that, he was out there with a bunch of strangers, and I'm like, hey, dude, I was standing out there, and I know this guy named Josh Hollab, who's unfortunately moved back to Michigan and Detroit and hates it. And there's a number of guys from our station there, and he's like, yeah, I was out there by myself, man, water cannons and a home run. And I'm like, no, you weren't. And so all I simply said was he might have been drinking a little bit too much. And then we went back and forth. But he doesn't drink too much. He probably drinks just about right. But anyway, make sure that you check out Walter, Passion for the Pastime. He does a great job with his YouTube channel and podcast. Make sure you check it out. He does an awesome job. He even takes like phone calls. He's very fancy. And so make sure you check out Walter in Passion for the Pastime. So anyway, yeah, done drinking. Done day drinking, the whole driving thing. I thought you said you were done drinking, and I was like, that's an interesting thought. What's going on there? Which I'm not judging. That's cool if that's what you want to do. But very, very cool. All right. Tolbert has not started his show yet. It starts in, I think it's 28th or something. It starts in like 10 days. And so what he's starting to do is he's starting to put up promos and things like that. So yeah, I'll pop this up for you. But it starts in about 10 days. You can check him out, and you can also check him out. You can check him out here, the YouTube page, and he obviously has stuff going on there. So let me pop this up just really, really quick. Here's
a lot of you have come up over the last few months and said, Tom, what are you up to? Walking. That's what I do now. I mean, why wouldn't I? But it's still not enough. I'm missing something. I've been doing it for 30 years. You know what it is? Talking sports. Watching sports and talking sports. Now, luckily, I get a little taste of that on my walks. You've been keeping up with the NBA trade? I know. It's wild, isn't it? I got some buddies. Yeah, right? I mean, it's like, what? Some regulars that I run across every day on my walks, and at least they want to stop for a minute and just talk sports. All right, Pablo. Take it easy, pal. Talk to you.
His show is like 10 days away, and I know he's got a Tom Tolbert channel on YouTube, and you can follow him along on I think all of them, X and all those kind of things. And so make sure that you already do that. But yeah, he hasn't started yet, but he is starting in about 10 days. So I know that he's doing that. John Holmes, you are the best. Thank you, my friend, for a shot of 151. Bro, I'll do a lot of shots of a lot of things. I was a bartender, and I would do floats of 151 and then light them on fire for people, and they would drink those things. I'll drink anything. I can't, like Everclear, you can't drink straight, but 151 is like, I would float, and then you'd light it on fire because there was that much alcohol in it. But I'll shoot just about anything, to be honest with you. But we used to call the ones that we used to float the 151 on the top was the obnoxious people. And they, it was like, oh, I can drink anybody under the table. And so as a bartender, I used to be like, all right. And we used to call it an adios MFer. Because we were just sick of it. It's like, okay. And then we would layer like 4 or 5 different things, and it looked really pretty. It looked like this rainbow. And then you would float 151 on the top, and you'd light it on fire, and then people would drink it. And now that I look back on it and I have a few more years on myself, I think to myself, why would I ever light a shot on fire and hand it to somebody? Like, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. And I would do it all the time. Whether I was working on that cruise ship, I was working after college, I was working in a fine dining steakhouse, but we had this big circular bar, and people used to just get hammered. And so these, like, when somebody was just on the verge and they would be like, I can out-drink anyone, I can drink anything. And we'd be like, okay. And you don't ever challenge your bartender, because they have bottles and bottles and bottles and bottles and bottles and bottles of booze all around them. And they're like, oh, you can drink anything, huh? And they do. They take that as kind of like some weird challenge because they're young and stupid like I was. And I would be like, okay. And I would layer this thing that it had everything. It had like vodka, tequila, peach schnapps, blue curacao. Like it had this layer. You take a spoon and you just layer it all in. And then at the top of it, you would put 151, and then you'd light this thing on fire. You'd light it on fire and go, okay, you ready, buddy? And they'd go, yeah, I'm already. This is called an adios MFer. And it had a 151 float on the top, and the guy would drink it. And then within 5 minutes, they'd be like Steph Curry, sleepy time. And we'd call a cab. And it was like, hey, that guy's gone. He's obnoxious. Back in the day when you had cabs, it was like, we're not calling an Uber, we're calling a cab. And we'd call it like 10 minutes ahead of time. We'd be like, hey, this guy's really hammered at the bar and we want to get him out of here. And so we're giving him an adios MFer. So can you get him to, it was called the Oyster Bar. Right? Can you get him to the Oyster Bar? Let's see, it's 10. So about 11 o'clock. If you want to send a cab over to about 11 o'clock, we'll throw him in the cab and you can come take him home. We're like, they're like, okay. Because they like the service. They like getting the money and we like getting the guy out of the bar. So it was win-win for everybody. And so that's what we would do. We're like, okay, fine. Guy thinks he can drink anything. Okay, well, nobody ever survived the adios MFer. Because seriously, it was like 8 shots of booze in one shot. And when you're pretty much already being an obnoxious jerk and you're pretty much done for the night anyway, that put you in the cab every time. 60% of the time, it works every time. It did. Good to see you, John Holmes. Thank you, my friend. Daniel, yeah, see, here you go. See, that's what I need right here. I'm not doing enough water. I told you last night was my last big meal in a long time. My wife is already in great shape. She just lost like 22 pounds, doing great. And I need to, because I don't know what happened. Like, after somebody lets you go, you're like, rah, 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 you eat everything. And so now I got to get back. I got to get back to the gym. I got to get back. I told my wife last night, I go, that's it. But I went balls out last night. And like I said, I went short rib over potatoes, had a few vegetables, which I enjoyed. And then I went tiramisu, full out tiramisu with a espresso martini afterwards. It was unreal. Yeah, there's a place called Oyster Bar, Oyster Club, same thing, or no, different thing. Oyster Bar was this thing that cabs, anymore. I mean, when's the last time you hopped a cab? I mean, seriously, when's the last time you hopped a cab? Like, hey, cab here. I don't know, New York. I think the last time I was in a cab. That's right. The Super Bowl 48, where Seattle beat the heck out of Denver, and we covered the Super Bowl that week, Pop and I, and he had a bag that had everything he owned in it: checkbooks, iPads, notes for teams. I mean, he has a column for each team, and he had tons of notes on every single team, and he had notes for the Seahawks and the Broncos that week. And it was this beat up old bag that he had, leather bag, and he carried it everywhere he went. This thing was like a bowling ball. And he carried it everywhere. And so we were going out to an Italian joint. We had a bunch of us and I wasn't in his cab, but there was like 4 cabs of us. And we went to this killer New York Italian place called Carmine's. I'm sure. I mean, hey, it's Carmine's. Hey, how's it going? I'm going to Carmine's. All right. That was a bad New York. Hey, I'm going to Carmine's. All right, that's better. So anyway, we're going there and we're in 4 different cabs. And he had the big giant bowling ball bag with him. And then we get to the restaurant and we sit down and he turns to me and he goes, I left my bag in the cab. And for that was maybe the first or second night we were in New York. And the whole trip, he would go down to the police station every day. And because they knew it was in there. It was in there because he had the tracking on the iPads. And he's like, it's in the cab. The guy who drove the cab stole all the stuff from me. Like 3 iPads, a laptop. There was money in there. There was all sorts of stuff. And in true Papa fashion, he's like, oh, well, like I would have been like, I'd been in my room the whole trip. I'd have been like, hell, what? The trip's over. And he was like, oh, well, I'll live. And absolutely. And so I bet that was the last time I was in a cab. 2014, New York City, covering the Super Bowl 48. I bet that was the last time. Because I'm trying to think. I don't think I've been in a cab since then. And yeah, we all took cabs to Carmine's for an Italian dinner, for a nice Italian dinner. And he left his bowling ball bag with all of his stuff in there. That's it. Yeah, he did. Oh, these are good friends of mine right here. East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I was on their podcast Wednesday. You should go check it out. And you should absolutely, you could even, I don't want you to leave the show, but I do want you to subscribe to their page right there. East Coast Red and Gold podcast. They know what I'm talking about. They were in New York City. But yeah, when I was covering that Super Bowl was the last time that I had I rode in a cab. 100%. That's wild to think of. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. No, Kyle, you're 100% right. They are. I mean, people make them differently. The adios MFers, people make them differently. Everybody, but mine was, I can't remember, but I know it had vodka, tequila, and we layered a couple of things. I know we layered like peach schnapps. We layered blue carousel just for the look of it. And so people would look at it and they'd just be like, oh my God, that's such a pretty drink. That is so cool. And you're like, no, you want nothing to do with it. It's absolute gas. It's just, and then I would float 151 on the top, and that had like a little bit of a gold tint to it. And so it had like this gold, clear, blue, red, clear again, whatever. Maybe it was grenadine on the bottom and like a red grenadine on the bottom. But all of it was all like an ounce of vodka, or excuse me, an ounce of alcohol. And you would layer this thing up, and then you had 151 on the top, and then someone would suck it down, and it was like, I mean, within 5 minutes, they're just like, yeah, that's right, buddy. Hit the cab. So that's why we brought up cabs. If you're new in here, is like, and then we literally would call the cab 10 minutes ahead of time and go, yeah, we're going to need a cab in about 10 minutes, because we'd serve it to the guy. Within 5 minutes, he was going like this. And then we're like, he's like, can you call me? Yeah, it's already outside. Get out. Get out. Now, I did watch Taxi Cab Confessions back in the day. That was a pretty good show. I got to say. And then why would you ever sign the release? A lot of times these people, and this was a thing too, not to go on a tangent here, but things about, like, as a bartender, people are telling me divorce stories and they cheated on someone and this, that, and what do you think of that? And it's like, why are you asking my opinion? I sling drinks. Like back in the day, I'm slinging drinks for a living. Why are you asking me my opinion? I do that all the time. No, I'm guilty of it. Like, I'll talk to the person who cuts my hair. She cuts my hair, and I'm like, I'm telling her stuff I should never tell her. Like, yeah, if what I should have done as a bartender, I should have blackmailed people. Should have said, the stuff you told me? Oh my God. And then like their girlfriend or wife would come in and sit next to them, and I'm like, can't say anything. You're sworn to secrecy. I mean, it's not like I'm a lawyer or something like that, and there's some law against it, but a lot of times I was just like, no, like, I'm not going to tell people anything. I'm insane. That's crazy. But that's what people do. You got to have somebody to talk to. You don't have a therapist that you're going to every day. If you don't have a therapist, it's like, all right, I can talk to somebody. Who am I going to drink? Who am I going to tell? So anyway, I got a great Southern Comfort story. John Holmes says, worst drink for me is Southern Comfort 𝐾𝐭. Would people just smelling it these days? My mom, I don't know what it was. I've told this story before. My mom was not a cook. Not great. And she would admit it. And she takes credit because I'm a pretty decent cook, really good on the barbecue. The reason I am is because my mom worked 24, worked growing up. And so I was going to say 24/7, but she didn't. But she worked, had her own business, and she worked a lot. And so it wasn't like when you got home, it's like, Mom, what do you have ready for me? Nothing. Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Nothing. You got to cook it. So if we had wanted dinner, we had to do dinner, right? I mean, that was just the way that things went. So anyway, I'm not going to go into that whole tangent about things, but it was something that John Holmes said that was going to serve. Thank you, John. Worst drink for me is Southern Comfort. So what would happen is my mom once a year would cook. It was Thanksgiving. And the whole time she's talking the whole day from this, I'm talking about like 7 a.m, do all the prep work for Thanksgiving till like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, in the evening. But the only prerequisite to all of that, the only thing that she requested during that time, and especially it was even when I was under 21, but certainly when I learned how to make drinks decently as a bartender for years, she would do an old fashioned, but it was with Southern Comfort. She liked Southern Comfort old fashions. So, and they were terrible. And like you, John Holmes, I was not a Southern Comfort guy, but that's what she wanted. And so all during the day, I would probably make her 4, 5, 6 or more of these Southern Comfort old fashions. And she just thought it was the greatest thing. You put the cherry in it and the orange and the whole thing. And she, just a giant ice cube and all that kind of stuff. And she liked Southern Comfort old fashions. That's what she would drink. And that was the one time a year she would cook. And so to make it tolerable, not for her, I guess it was for her, but for the rest of us, because if she wasn't drinking, if she didn't have a drink in her hand during Thanksgiving, she was so angry that she was cooking. That was her once a year thing. She would cook. My dad would make a big bucket of Bloody Marys, a mix. And then my mom would cook all day and I would make her Southern Comfort old fashions. You can imagine how that day went. One time they forgot me at the airport. I was flying in from, this was after college, actually. I flew in from somewhere and flew in for Thanksgiving. And they were supposed to pick me up from the airport. I have no problem getting my own car, but they said they would. So I'm sitting in the airport 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's getting later and it's Thanksgiving Day. So it's getting to be around, I don't know, 2:30. And I'm thinking we're probably going to eat at like 4. I'm missing all the football. And so I'm just like, what's going on here? So I call him. My dad answers the phone and I go, hey, I'm at the airport. I've been here for like, an hour. Like, what's going on here? He goes, oh, we totally forgot. And I'm like, what do you mean you forgot? He's like, yeah, we forgot. And again, back in the day, he's like, you're going to take a cab. We totally forgot. And I get there, the cab. And by the way, I grab my bag and I walk right in the cab. And he's like, who's paying? And I go, I don't know, not me. And I go walking into the house, and I open up the door, and I go, somebody's got to pay a cabbie, because I'm not paying for the damn cab. You forgot me at the airport. What are you, insane? You forgot me at the airport. I'm not paying. And so I walk into the house. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And my dad had made the big, bucket, like, the white industrial buckets. He would make Bloody Mary mix in a white industrial bucket for everybody, for the family and the friends that would come over. We'd have massive Thanksgivings. So he would make a industrial white plastic bucket with Bloody Mary mix. My mom is somebody else was making her the Southern Comfort old fashions that day. So she's in the bag. And the rest of my family, I don't want to make them sound like functioning alcoholics, because they're not, but they like to get after it on holidays like all of us do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But nobody remembered that they had to stay sober. And so I just like, and my flight landed at, I don't know, my flight probably landed at 1:00, and I ended up getting to my parents' house at like 3:30. It's a 20-minute drive from the airport. Like 3:30. And then, of course, half the people who don't know that I got stuck at the airport, like grandmas and grandpas, are coming up to me. How come you're so late on Thanksgiving? Couldn't you have gotten an earlier flight? And I'm like, Grandma, it's too long of a story. Just go take a nap or something. Aunt Edna would come up to me. Gosh, it's almost time for dinner for Thanksgiving. You're so late. And I'm like, leave me alone. Go away. Give me a drink. Anyway, true story. They forgot me at the airport. It's like, my God, what's wrong with my family? What's going on? All right. I hope my mom's not watching today, because I'm not trying to paint him in a bad light. My point is that my mom takes credit for me being a good cook. That's not my point, but it's one of my side points, is that my mom takes credit for me being a good cook, because like I said, I learned at an early age, like, well, I got to be able to do this. And I'm not talking about like peanut butter and jelly. Like I was rocking the pans, because that's just how it went. So anyway, oh man, dude, Irish car bombs, not a fan. Nah. Hi, Christopher. Good to see you, my friend, on a Saturday. Yeah, I did. I really had an Aunt Edna. I know people make that they make that up, and they're like Aunt Edna, Aunt Edna. I had an Aunt Edna. I really did have an Aunt Edna. That's a true story. Let's see. Yeah, people just forgot that I was at the airport. I was like, yeah, I walk in, and this was probably just something between like me and my dad. My mom probably didn't even know. I don't remember what she said, but oh man, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And so, yeah, just, and then everybody was like, what's going on? How come you're late to Thanksgiving? I'm like, don't even get me started, man. It's great to see you, EB. Good to see you. Yeah. You know what's funny? That's a great call. Jamie Lee Curtis is the mom on the Bear. Jamie Lee Curtis is the mom on the Bear. And you're exactly right. I would say that my mom is much more loving than that, and she's not vindictive or any of those things that Jamie Lee Curtis's plays. But yeah, she was kind of like that. Another quick mom story, because my wife was a little bit like this. This happened to me yesterday, and I didn't even tell her that. She doesn't even know that this story is happening. Hey, Joe Schmo, good to see you. My mom had such tunnel vision when she was driving, and I've told you this before. She was a director for Mary Kay Cosmetics for a long time. So she had this until they shortened the Cadillacs up that they won, and they made it more of like a white, light pink. You could hardly even tell they're pink, especially at night. They look more white. But when my mom in the 80s and early 90s, she was working for Mary Kay Cosmetics, which is, I don't know if you know this, but it's like pink. Their whole thing is pink. So she won a pink Cadillac, and it was like I'm talking about like a pink, like a boat, and it was bright pink, right? She had a bright pink Cadillac. That's what she drove around. And so when I was walking home from like middle school or high school before I got a license or whatever, or even elementary school, I'd be walking home, and we had a straight stretch to our house, kind of an uphill a little bit. Then you took a right, and then our house was back there. But there was a straight stretch, and you could see cars for a long time. And so, a lot of times when you're walking home, you're like, oh man, I hope my mom comes by or something. I hope she, and she sees me on the side of the road. And most moms would like see their own kid, and they'd pick him up, and they'd be like, oh, that'd be a bonus that day. Your mom would save you like 25 minutes of walking. And so I saw my mom all the time. And here comes this, because nobody else has a gigantic pimp pink Cadillac rolling down the road. You can see this thing a mile away. So I'm looking, and I'm seeing her, and I'm like, there's my mom. And I would be standing, not in the middle of the road, because she'd probably run me over, but I'd be standing doing this, like an air traffic controller, with my hands up in the air going like this. And my mom would go right by me. Like she wouldn't even see me. And her hair, she was like this, like not with her hands up, but I mean, she would be looking dead ahead, like with 18 things on her mind going, I don't know who that was, jumping up and down at me, and never picked me up. And then I'd get home and I'd be like, didn't you see me jumping up and down on the sidewalk trying to get your attention? She's like, no, I didn't. You were there? I was like, oh my God. So yesterday I'm turning the corner out of our cul-de-sac. I'm sitting there, and my wife does this every single time. My car is like a dark blue, and most cars are black, silver, and white, maybe some red. So it's a distinctive color. And it's not like lime green or brown or something where you got to be the salesman of the year to sell those color cars, but you somehow they get sold. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and there's not a lot of cars coming out of her cul-de-sac, and I'm just sitting, and she goes right by me, turns right into our cul-de-sac, and it's just like not even looking at him. I'm just like, and so I called her, and I'm like, did you just see did you see that? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you just drove right by me. This happened yesterday. I go, you just drove right by me. You didn't see me at all. You didn't see the car. Like, I didn't see anything. Unbelievable. It's like my mom. All right. I've gone on enough tangents. If you're new here, see the bottom there where it says random. We normally have probably 10 more things on the chalkboard, but it was a Saturday, and I just wanted to check in before we were heading down to San Francisco to check out the festivities. But this is not, I don't know that I would say this is normal. This might be just based on how long we've been going an hour and a half. Normally the show goes about 3 hours, and we talk a ton of different sports and Niners and all these different things. And believe me, if you got something, we got a Q&A, you guys want to talk about something that I didn't put up on the board today because I hardly put anything up on the board today. Valentine's Day review, All-Star Weekend, All-Star Changes, annual warning about how you should approach the All-Star game, Eagles Parade, which was just blew my mind, SNL 50, the concerts that you should be watching, they're great, and then random stuff, which I put it on the board every single day because we just go over random stuff. And what happens is I look at the board, the not the chalkboard I have up there, but there's a stream, and I'm sure you can see it, of questions and comments, and people are talking amongst themselves. Sometimes they'll react to something that I say, but then I just, I go off on tangents, and something sends me on a tangent, and then we're off and running, and boom, 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 boom. So we've had a lot of random today. I will say, a lot of random today. Let's see, what do we got? Anything else today that we need to get to? Yeah, believe me, my mom would send me stuff every single year of Mary Kay, and I was like, because they have a small men's line. It wasn't the greatest. It was fine, Joy, when because what happened was later on, the cars that you won from Mary Kay for doing a certain amount every year, they shortened them up like the modern one, and then it wasn't so pink. It was more like a whitish pink. They probably told them, and now you can pick any car and make it pink. Like they have like a Tesla. They have anything you want, but it's like a whitish pink. So even at night, it looks white. It doesn't look pink. But I've told this story before. I was playing football. I was playing baseball. I was playing basketball. I was playing all the sports in high school, and I'd be sitting there before I was 16. I'd be sitting there waiting for a ride, and I could see it coming, and I would pray every day. Every day I would pray, because you know how it is as a kid. You're going to get grief for anything. And so my dad always had a company car, different colors. I'm going to sneeze in a second, so I may need to pull off here just for a second. But nope, it's going to happen. Nope. It's this damn diffuser that's making me all, mellowed out. But okay, it's passed. So I would be going down, I'd be waiting, and like I told you, I could see this pink Cadillac forever. And so every day, especially after football practice, so I'd be sitting there as a freshman in high school after football practice, and I'd be like, please have it be my dad. And I think at that time, my dad drove like it was like the old Ford Taurus, which was my dad wasn't a cop or anything, but he drove like a navy blue Ford Taurus as his company car. And so I was hoping so badly that the blue Ford Taurus was coming. So I was watching. And then if it was my mom's big boat, bright pink Cadillac, what I would do is I would start walking because I could see it. And I was like, oh my God. And so instead of sitting with my friends and hanging out with my friends, and then, your dad's or mom's car pulls up and it's a normal car, it's a white whatever, or it's a black whatever, or a gray or a silver or a red or whatever, just a normal car. And they would get in the car, hey, see you tomorrow. And I could see the pink Cadillac coming and bombing down the road. And I was like, oh, no. And so what I'd start doing is I would start walking towards the sidewalk down the road, and I would go to the other side of the road and just jump in, and then we'd be off, and people would give me grief tomorrow, but at least I'd deal with that tomorrow. But sometimes it was just like I wouldn't see it, and I would be like talking with my friends, and all of a sudden the pink caddy would pull it up, and I'm like, oh, no. And they're like, ah! Just like howling and laughing and give me grief and everything like that. And it was like, oh man, the pink Cadillac. or my dad would pull up in it because he was excited about it. He was like, getting a free car, pink Cadillac. Your mom's making a bunch of money. Like, are you kidding me? I'm very proud of this thing. He drove the pink Cadillac all the time, white leather interior. You know, if you didn't know any better, I mean, you're driving the thing. It's a nice Cadillac and everything, but it's like you forget sometimes it's pink. And it's same thing. Like when when you're going to be 16 years old, or when you're 16 years old and you'll drive anything. Like I'll drive to the store, I'll drive here, I'll drive there. And so my mom would let me drive the thing. And my mom was just like, she was so busy, like, whatever, we need groceries, you go to the store. And I'm like, well, I have my permit, but I have my license. She's like, I don't care. Just drive it. And so I would drive like this. I would drive the car to the grocery store because I didn't want people to see me. I would do like this. I would drive the thing down like this because I didn't want anybody to see me. So I was like, oh, I don't want anybody to see me driving this pink Cadillac. But then again, you're 16 and you're weighing that, when you're 16 and you'll just drive anywhere. Like, I'll drive because you want to drive everywhere. But I had to, my dad had his company car and he was gone all day long. So the only car that was sitting around is a pink Cadillac. And I'm like, But you didn't want your friends to see you driving the pink Cadillac, but you loved to drive. So I would drive it like lowrider style, like, oh man, drive the pink Cadillac. All right, I'll drive to the store. And then I would park way away. Like, then I'd get the groceries and I'd have to cart them all the way, half a mile away because I wasn't going to park the pink Cadillac in the front and get out of the thing. Like, oh man, are you kidding me? All right. What else we got? Anything else today that I've missed? It's a goofy show today. Goofy show. All right. That's a true story about the pink Cadillac. Because when you're in high school, man, it's like it's everything. Could you imagine, like, confidently? I mean, I guess I should have owned it in retrospect. Just like, yeah, it's my mom. I'm proud of my mom. She's got a pink Cadillac. What do you got? What are your mom driving? Some Mazda, whatever it is, broken down thing? Are you kidding me? I'm driving a Cadillac here. Get out of here. But I didn't. You're in high school. You're just like, oh God, are you kidding me? No way. Driving a pink Cadillac. All right. All right, everybody have a great day. I just wanted to jump in real quick, say hello. We had a good time today. Went through the VD review, All-Star Weekend, All-Star Changes, annual warning. Remember, approach this stuff. It's not going to be Oscar-winning material. It's the All-Star game. Just have fun with it. The Eagles parade, which I think is crazy, and I cannot wait to have a parade here that looks like that, where we can all pull together, no matter what your race, religion, creed, political beliefs, whatever the case may be. Man, that is cool, and you don't have to be an Eagles fan. That's not why I'm pointing it out. I'm pointing it out because that is just awesome. I just, people say sports isn't important. Sports is pretty important when you can pull together the community, the city, everything, no matter what your belief is in anything. Y'all love the Eagles, and it's like, there you go. So the Niners need to bring us one of those, please. Thank you. That was very cool. I dug seeing that. So check out the SNL stuff. If you don't like it, I understand. But, man, there's a bunch of cool stuff. And then All-Star Weekend coming up. And then we'll reconvene tomorrow. Keep your alerts on. Please make sure that you subscribe to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, because what you'll do is you keep your alerts on. I'll have another piece up today on the blog, johnlundunleashed.com. We'll put another video along with that. We'll put a couple of shorts out today. Any breaking news, remember, we always jump on when there's breaking news at John Lund Unleashed on the YouTube channel and on X and Instagram. So, again, keep your alerts on for that, because I'll jump on the phone if we're in the city and stuff and there's breaking news down there. So we'll make sure that we get all that stuff done. And johnlundunleashed.com. Thanks for watching on Instagram and X. And if you're listening on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Everybody have a great Saturday. If I don't talk to you, no, there's no THC in the infuser today. But I will give you a full report of what everything was like in the city as we are trying to show the city off for the All-Star game. So there you go. Look at the Ron Hextall reference from John Holmes. A Ron Hextall. Very well done, my friend. Very well done. Did I make sure that I got to all the stars today? Thank you so much to Ben Affleck's double chin. That is a beautiful pumpkin. John Holmes, my good friend. Thank you. You got me on a 151 tangent with that one today. You are always the best. I appreciate you. Daniel, you are outstanding. That is for a bottle of water. I appreciate it. That is very, very nice of you. Please make sure that you subscribe. You can become a Lund loyalist as well. And again, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast, and johnlundunleashed.com. Everyone have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for convening in the chat room. I had a great time with everybody, and thanks to everybody who is new. You are always welcome. It's John Lund Unleashed, Saturday edition, only here. John Lund.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!